All right, great Wednesday morning, mid morning. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Cesar Mascoro Jr. with Manufactured Home Sales Mastery, and with our 15 minutes of mastery that we do each and every day to get your day started off with some information, inspiration, motivation. And we want to welcome you to episode number 526 on this Wednesday, the 16th of April, and want to also want to wish Jackson, our very own Jackson, a happy 19th birthday. I believe he's out and about this morning with the family. We're going to have dinner tonight and got to be in here knocking out the work, man. Got to keep moving forward because you've got dreams, we've got dreams, and we're all moving towards those. So today I want to talk to you. We're continuing on with the theme of being able to treat your buyers like people, humanizing your buyers. They're not deals. They're not applications. They're not transactions. They're not homes sold. They're people. And so today we want to discuss the why, right? We talk about that all the time. We talk about what is your why? Why are you doing what are you trying to accomplish? What are you working so hard for? Or who are you working so hard for? But we also want to understand the buyer's why. We also need to know what's going on with them. And Michael J. Silverstein writes, completely understand the customer by seeking an intense, complete, and empathetic understanding. And I could not agree more. Seek an intense, complete, and empathetic understanding of your buyer. How do we get a complete and intense understanding of anything? What comes to mind when you're thinking, I need to know a complete and intense understanding of math? I need to understand a complete and intense understanding of the car engine, or whatever it is that you're needing a complete and intense understanding of, how to operate my phone, whatever it may be. You typically would do a deep dive into that. You would really get into it and research. You'd read about this, and you even think about when you've bought something here recently that you did some research on, and you're looking online, you're looking at reviews, you're looking at information on the product, you're trying to learn as much as you possibly can. I mean, I've done it with different things that I've been looking at purchasing. We all do it. But yet, let's stop and think for those of us as housing consultants, all of you out there, housing consultants, community managers, how much research, how much studying, how much in-depth knowledge do you acquire of your buyers? How much time would it take to be able to do that? You see, that's where we have to correlate the fact of spending time upfront with these folks in order to be able to get that sort of knowledge, a complete and intense and empathetic. Don't forget the word empathetic, care, a caring knowledge of your buyers. Because you see, the more that you understand what is going on with them, the more that you can understand their reasons for needing a home, for wanting a home, for being in front of you, well, the more meaningful that your suggestions, your guidance, your information that you provide them, the consulting that you give them, the more that is going to have a meaning to them, the more it's going to make an impact with them, the more it's going to resonate with them, the more you're going to be able to influence them into making the decision they already want to make. They already want the home. I can't tell you that enough. You hear me say that all the time. They already want the home. They would not be in front of you. They would not be on the phone with you if they did not want a home. Even those people that may just run across an ad and saw it, they were interested for something inside of them, is pulling them to want to reach out to you, make that phone call, and get some information. They want that already. So when you can get that complete and deep understanding, complete, intense, and empathetic understanding of why they are wanting to do this, the more you're going to be able to guide them, the more you're going to be able to help them understand what's going to be in their best interest, what's going to serve them and their family the fullest. we've got to be able to do that. We've got to be able to do that in a manner that's going to make a difference. And so, with that being said, you've got to stop and think, well, what's going to help me with that? How am I going to be able to do that? How am I going to be able to really get them to open up to me? How am I going to be able to really get them to trust me enough to share these intimate details about themselves? And when I say intimate, I mean these personal reasons that they've got going on. You see, life altering changes are going through for some of these buyers. They're going through some situations that, man, we wouldn't even wish upon our own friends and family. And so how are they supposed to open up about that? And that's where a lot of you get caught up in the middle, and you start wondering, well, man, a lot of this is personal, and I just don't feel right asking them. I'm here to tell you, you don't feel right asking them because you haven't built a truly empathetic connection, trust, relationship, a bond with them. We're going to keep pounding this message into your head for as long as it takes. Times have changed. People have changed. The way people make their buying decisions, especially when it comes to homes, with prices being where they are and rates being where they're at, all this news of tariffs, everything, it's changed. And yet, you want to go about doing it the same way, and you're wondering why you're struggling. I hear it all across the country. Our so and so struggling, or our numbers are down, or this and that. But for some reason, you look at the data for homes and they're up. Sales are up. Production is up. Why are you missing out? Because you're trying to go about doing this the same way you always have, and people are just buying differently. They're buying differently, and they need you to understand that. I need you to understand. I want you to understand that, because it's what's going to make all the difference in the world for you. Why do people shop you as much as they do? Why do they continue looking? Because you haven't truly resonated with them, because you didn't build this type of intense and complete and empathetic understanding of their situation to where they feel entrusted to you, where they feel that they just, okay, you are my person. I don't need to go look because you understand me. I know that you understand me. I trust that you're going to do everything in your power to make this happen. So how can we do that? How can we get them to open up about these things? By truly caring, by slowing down, by getting to know them, by not just diving into business, not trying to find out what they're looking, but trying to find out about them, trying to find out who they are, trying to find out what resonates with them, trying to find out what you may have in common, or how you can create that connection between you and them. By slowing down and being informative, by slowing down and being a truly professional consultant, by slowing down and giving them the information that they need so that they can now feel you are their person. Another way that you can do this is by letting them know why you're even doing this. We talk about this all the time when we're doing our training classes. Why are you doing what you're doing? Why are you sitting there right now in that office? Why are you there trying to sell homes? Why? You see, when you can relay that information to your buyer and help them understand how it's mutually beneficial, and that you're just as human as they are, man, that's a bond that is very, very hard to break, even if it's just been an hour or two that you've spent with them. When you can do this up front, slow down, get to know them, build the trust in you and them, and sharing each other's reasons for being where you're at that particular moment. You sharing with them why it is that you're doing what you do. You see, every time that I sat in front of a buyer, every time that somebody came into my office, whether it was an appointment or walk-in, you best believe that part of what I did after getting to know them for a little while was explain to them, not just about my company, but about me. I would sit there and I would let each and every one of them know about my situation. And I would tell them that the reason that I was sitting in front of them is because I loved to help people find their home, not just because it's about finding the home, but it's because of what it meant to me. You see, growing up, being raised by a single mom, an immigrant mom, by the way, okay, it was difficult for us to get our own home. We struggled a lot, a lot. And I remember the things that my mom had to go through growing up, raising me and my younger brother, and the difficulties that she went up against head on. Strong-willed, very, very powerful woman, but yet still struggled. And so to me, it's about being able to help families not have to go through that. And the way that I help families not have to go through this by being the best informed, by being the most knowledgeable, by being the person that's going to help you get through every hurdle, because there will be hurdles that come up in the whole buying process so that you and your family can have the home that you want. I'm not trying to sell you what I want. I'm trying to find out what you need. I'm trying to find out what you want, and I'm trying to make sure that it fits in your budget, because we can all agree that it doesn't matter how beautiful the home is. If it's not in your budget, you're not going to end up buying it. Wouldn't you agree? So what I can tell you is this, Mr. and Mrs. Customer, that if you give me the opportunity, if you trust in me, in the fact that I'm here to serve you and that I want to help you and your family accomplish exactly what you're after for whatever reason you're trying to do it, if you work with me, this is going to be probably the best experience you've ever had in purchasing anything for you and your family. And that's my commitment to you. And every single time I shared that with people. And now it humanizes the situation here. And I would let them know, hey, do I get paid for helping you? Of course I do. Of course I do. Will there be a commission for me? Yes, there will be. However, that commission does not get paid to me. I don't get paid for anything unless I help you first. Unless I find the home that you need within the budget, everything that's going to fit you. So again, it doesn't matter what home you pick. I'm here to help you. But explaining that to them and helping clear the air, being transparent, will build that trust in you. See, it's not just about you finding out their why. It's about them finding out your why. Simon Sinek has a quote that he says, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. People don't buy what you do. They don't care that you're there to sell homes. They actually look at you as a salesperson when all they think is you're there to sell homes. But when they find out why you're doing it, completely different. So when we say understand their why, you need to share your why first. You need to be vulnerable first. You need to let them know the insides. And if you haven't figured that out, man, if you haven't figured you out yet, if you haven't taken the time to peel back the layers on you to figure out why you're doing what you're doing, you're not truly ever going to be able to do it for people. So I encourage you to figure that out, right? But let's talk about what you can do. Look, there's 5 things that I'm gonna share with you that you should do each and every time, besides telling them why you're doing what you're doing. So right now, I'm here to tell you, you need to figure out why you're doing it. You need to figure out your own personal power statement, and you need to share that with people every single time. Towards the beginning, get to know them first, chit chat, build a bond, build a connection. And then share with them why you're sitting in front of them, why you're doing what you're doing. What is your own personal reason for being there to help people? And it can't be about the money. Look, we all get into this because there's great money to be made. But why don't most people make great money? Because they haven't figured out their why yet. And so they skip steps. They don't do the work. They refuse to do the marketing. They don't make as many calls as they need to. They don't put up with all the BS that we have to put up with. But when you know your why, you fight through it. Just like with us building this company, with me selling before this, when I was in manufactured home sales for almost 15 years. Before that, when I was in the site built world. It's about why I was doing it. That's what helped me fight through. That's what helps me fight through now. And you should figure out yours. So you share yours, and then they're going to share theirs. And so the way that you can do this, first and foremost, like you want to ask what life-changing event they're going through right now. What has changed in their life? Is it a job change? Is it income change? Is it they came into money? Maybe credit change? Maybe they've got a situation, a bad change, right? Maybe somebody got in some trouble. Maybe they're getting kicked out of their home. Maybe their family that they were living with is telling them, hey man, time's up. You got to go. Whatever it is, you need to find out what life changing event they're going through right now. Help me understand what's brought you to this point right now. Because look, you've been renting for the last 3 years. That's a pretty easy way of living right now. Why would you want to get into buying a home? What's going on? What's changed? Help find that out, and you'll start getting a deeper understanding. The next thing is not find out, but find out what their ideal life looks like. Okay, it's perfect. Understand, you want to get this. I understand what's going on. What's life going to look like with you having this home? What are you trying to accomplish? What is it that you're after? I want my kids to have their own room. I want to provide this for my wife. Where I'm going through these changes. I want to upgrade from what I've lived. What does that look like? Get them to verbalize that to you so that you have a complete and intense and empathetic understanding of their situation, of their reason for wanting to buy a home. So find out what their ideal life looks like. And of course, you want to find out what that emotional driver is. Once you understand these first few questions, you'll now be able to see, okay, is it pride? Is it profit? Is it love, need, or fear? Which one is it? Or maybe it's a combination of several of those, right? Because a dad who wants to provide a home for his family, I mean, obviously there's love involved in that and there's pride involved in that. Me as a father, be able to do that. If I want to help take my family out of a bad situation, it's the fear, it's the need, it's the love. There's several. So you've got to figure out what's that emotional driver. When you understand that, now it makes it easier. When you get them to open up about that, now they have made themselves vulnerable to you. And we're not talking about this in a manner of taking advantage of people. We're talking about this in a manner in which you can better help families when they entrust themselves to you in this way. But it takes you truly caring, sympathizing, and empathizing with them, right? And next thing, obviously, you want to connect the homes that you show to their why. How does this provide the solution to the issue? How does this meet the need for the change in their life? How does this home fit that ideal life that they talk to you about? Help them correlate the two. And lastly, the only way you're going to be able to make all of this happen is you have to start with empathy. You have to truly care. You have to truly care about what it is that you do and the people that you're serving and the outcome, understanding that they have to win before you win. And when you understand that your win is dependent on them winning, your whole approach will be different. Your whole approach, the way you speak, the way you talk, the way you feel, the way you look, everything will be different about you. When you understand that you have to serve them, they have to win first. You have to help them reach their outcome. When you make it about them, when it's customer centric, as opposed to the way it's been in our industry for decades of this is just how we do it, and man, you're gonna this. No, when we truly care, because times have changed, people have changed, the way people make decisions have changed, everything is different. 2025 is not 1990. 2025 is not 1970. 2025 is 2025. Whether you agree with it or not, however you may feel about how people are in society today, the fact of the matter remains that they are what they are. And you need to change with it. You need to adapt with it. You can be who you are outside of here. You can do who you can think however you think. You can live your life however you live your life. However, when we serve others, just like we do in this industry, when we are servant leaders to these folks, we need to adapt to them to be able to best serve them. So start with empathy, truly care, and understand that what you're doing is life-changing. Understand that what you are doing is making a huge difference in so many people's lives. And all you got to do All you got to do is help them accomplish the goal that they're after. But you have to understand their why. And if you don't understand your why, I highly suggest you start there. Because as soon as you understand yours, it'll be so much easier to find out theirs. And if you need help with that, reach out to us here at Manufactured Home Sales Master. We can help you dig deep into that. Man, just call me your shrink. All right. I am okay with that. Because I always say that we're almost like practical psychologists in what we do, what you do. As a housing consultant, community manager, you're a practical psychologist for all intents and purposes. And the great thing about it is they win, you win, your family wins, your community wins, everybody wins. And we're doing great things, not just for our country, but for people, for humanity. Let's go out and do great things today, this Wednesday. Listen, I hope you can go out and really, really attack. You got half the month left, man. Go and do it the best way you possibly can. We want to see you win. All right. So I'm going to sign out for right now. I've got some work to get done. We're going to celebrate Jackson's birthday a little bit later. He's out doing some things right now with part of the family already celebrating. So happy birthday to Jackson. And if it's your birthday out there as well, happy birthday to you. All right. From all of us here at Manufactured Home Sales Master, remember that we're here to take your life, your business, your career to a whole new level. So if there's a way that we can serve you, please reach out to us because we would love to be a part of that. Dan Parks, what's going on, brother? Hope you're doing well, man. Hope that Hawthorne, Texas, right? I think is where you're at. Hope it's treating you well, Brian. You guys be safe. We'll be talking soon. Until next time, tomorrow with another 15 Minutes of Mastery. As always, my friends, can't wait to meet you.